Hey, Niktana here, and back with the revived playlist of the interviews and a special video which is having Domiwoof back because actually that was my first guess when I started this. So, without further ado, please welcome Domiwoof.
Hello. Hi, nice to be back. Glad to be doing another one of these. It's been so long.
I know. Which it doesn't seem like it, but it like sometimes like when you think of content, it feels like it's only been a little while ago, and then you look at the dates and it's like, oh my
Yeah, no,
Christ.
absolutely. Absolutely. I regularly forget how long I've been doing this. Sometimes I'll look at some of my thumbnails and I'll be like, "Oh, wow. I've really gotten better at this in a really fast amount of time." And then I remember how long I've been making thumbnails for, and it's like, "Oh my God, I've been making thumbnails for nearly 3 years." And before that I wasn't making them at all, so like yeah, it's been a while. It's sometimes hard to forget that.
Yeah, I like it's amazing because like my brain will always think it's only been 2 to 3 years because I think that's when I was like I felt personally I was at my peak, and then like the last feel like I've been like kind of dragged behind a truck creatively. And I mean
Yeah.
I may have like it looks like I've made more progress in like where I've done creatively. Like I feel like my work is much better now, but it just doesn't feel like those years have like counted since there've been so many like on off kind of things that just make it feel like time just stops.
Yeah, for me it definitely feels like even though I've been doing this, I want to say probably it's been about 5 years now. It might
Hmm.
might have been a little longer than that. I feel like since it's been such a long time, I have a much better idea now of how to handle doing this, as opposed to before where I just kind of emulated other people that I follow.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't really do that so much anymore because I kind of just pace myself according to what I'm feeling
Hmm.
and just sort of let that be as it is. Now, is that successful for people finding me or watching me? I don't really know. Because I stopped caring about numbers a long time ago. I mean, much like you, I hit my peak years ago. And I've never really been able to get back there since. And I've just kind of been more or less fine with that. Um, we've done quite a bit since our first interview, and like people will find me every now and then, um, not in any like great number or anything, but enough that I feel like I'm being seen in some regard, and at least some people are finding what I do.
Yeah, like with these interviews, like I hope that it is and it was intended as such to be a vehicle to sort of show people like there are other creators out here that I do watch that I do feel are like they that don't get the spotlight enough or simply just like I think my viewers would probably like it just sometimes it's just hard to find. That's like with anybody with creativity, it's like you what you do there is an audience, it's just a matter of finding each other.
Well, I feel like it's very hard with indie creators in particular because there's such an insular view in what creation should be, and it's kind of sad.
Hmm.
Especially when you are a VTuber, which I don't really use that label anymore, but it is what I am functionally. Because that alone carries so much expectations with it. And there's so many fans that expect you to behave like one type of way, or they expect you to participate in this or in
Hmm.
that. And I'm just not really the kind of person that does those things. Um, I don't really like to do something because it will get me seen. I like to
Yep.
do something because one, I think it'll be fun to do. And if I get seen because of it, that's a nice secondary thing. But it's never my primary motivation because that feels very insincere and weird to me.
Yeah. And also like um my thing with it is I feel like even with like say with society IRL and almost most things that quote unquote or in theory do well, people fall victim to losing their own identity because they're trying to fit through the cookie cutter shape of what it is to be successful, and then the pressure to succeed and outdo yourself over and over again till you start losing why you're passionate about it in the beginning and eventually start to hate it.
And I think that's a really good point, and why it was so good for the creator space for Twitter to die. Because so many of us have left Twitter by this point. And I mean, there's still people there, obviously. I mean, when I say die, I mean like comparatively die.
Yeah.
I don't mean like actually died. There's still people that are on Twitter and they are, indulging in that environment every day. But for those of us who have left, I feel like have been able to take on such a different frame of mind insofar as what creating is. And unfortunately, more often in recent times, Blue Sky has reflected more of that Twitter space that it used to be, which sucks. And I feel like part of that might be inevitable. But there's still pockets here and there of people showcasing, creation is not one specific conical thing. It is a wide variety of things that you you can do depending on your own motivation and your own interests. And like I would say I used to be a pretty big variety streamer to where I would just go live with anything I found interesting, and sometimes that was stuff that was popular just to see if it got me seen better because I saw other people getting seen better by it. But these days I stick pretty much to the niche of playing horror games,
Hmm.
mostly like analog horror games, um RPGs, which I mean some of those are big. I do play a lot of big name RPGs and many of them are current. But that's just like my main interest, so I mean I was never really going to do away with that. And I also have not done as many visual novels as I was hoping, but I did return to it recently. And that is pretty much the niche that I stick to almost religiously. Um and I feel like once you have a niche and once you like have an idea of what you want to do, it becomes a lot easier to resist that urge of seeing like a bunch of people on Blue Sky going live with Repo and you feeling like, "Oh, okay, that seems to be getting views, so let's play some Repo. Let's
Hmm.
get some Repo collabs going." Or like people playing what is that? What's the Marvel game? Marvel,
Marvel
is it Marvel
Rivals.
Survivor? Marvel Rivals? Oh god, I was going to say Marvel Survivors. I was thinking of Vampire Survivors. Um Marvel Rivals. And just like going, yeah, okay, let's get some games of this in. This will probably get some new people to me. I just don't really do that stuff anymore. Um, it never feels good, even when I used to do it. And I'll still go live with Fortnite every now and then. Like that's an old staple. It probably always will be. And I have friends that we like streaming it together, and that's fine. But like in terms of like setting up collabs like deliberately to try and get my name out there, I feel like that's so, like, I don't want to say boring because that feels like I'm judging people that do it, but to me it feels boring.
I think for me, it's like why, like, I've never really fit, and I'm okay with this. Keep in mind, I'm not complaining. I've never really felt like I'm a puzzle piece that fits in any puzzle, so it's hard to have, if it's hard to sort of feel like part of, like, when I was doing collabs, I kind of just stuck in chats and sort of like haunted the or haunted the Twitch chats and comments section, and I was fine with that. And then when I was trying to be social, because originally I thought it was me that was the problem with, like, maybe I'm just too much of a recluse, or I do too many things alone, which I'm so accustomed to and I'm comfortable with. And then I've had so many instances where I've tried to be social, or I've tried to do collabs, or I tried to do what, quote unquote, like what I was seeing was being done, and eventually I realized that I was getting more drained, and actually my own content was suffering because I was so fixated on trying to keep up with people, trying
Yeah.
to stick with this, like, say, newer games. And people just, I can't stand when, like, people hop from game to game to game. I like consistency. And
Yeah.
the other thing is, like, I was getting more burnt out socially because I had the hard time of thinking, like, what is genuine, like, I want quality in my interactions with people, and I don't want to be seen as a sycophant, and I also don't
Yeah.
want to be seen as so sad that I'm trying desperately to talk to everybody to get something out of it. And my worry of that was why I kind of got turned off to trying to just do the social grind. I never even cared about networking and all that because I didn't want people to think that I was in it for something.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point because you and I are both we're both lewd creators.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we don't do lewd things on Twitch, like that is the majority of the content that we want to put out is like stuff that titillates, stuff that excites, stuff that like makes someone feel a certain type of way. And I feel like that in itself like automatically already creates a much harder way
Landscape.
of what? I'm sorry.
Landscape.
Yeah, just a much harder landscape of connecting because like on Twitter, um I used to feel like I was either too lewd for some areas or not lewd for others, and I think I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that in my
Oh my
first
God.
interview.
Yes.
I used to have friends all the time that would tell me, I would collab with you, but you're way too lewd for me, and I'm
Oh.
like, okay, that sounds like your personal problem. Or like I would tell some, or I would try and like connect with somebody who I thought, I could bond with because we both did lewd content, but they made it pretty clear to me that I wasn't lewd enough for them, which was pretty crazy to me because I felt like, I was always one of the more lewd people that I saw in the space
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't making lewdness a caricature, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and ever since that Twitter bubble burst and people started flowing over to Blue Sky, it feels like it's a lot easier to find the crowd of lewd people to support, mainly like people that are not also lewd tubers, but also at the same time, when you try and connect with other lewd tubers, it's hard because if you don't do like cams, or if you don't do like lewd like model stuff like through like VR chat and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, then you just don't really feel like you belong that much. And even now, like on Blue Sky, I feel like a vast majority of the stuff that I do doesn't ever get shared with the same veracity that I share others, which sucks. And I feel like that's probably always going to be a curse of being a lewd creator. Um, and in particular, like I feel like with lewd creators, we have to target a specific niche in terms of what we're doing that's lewd, but we have to also cater to the public eye at the same time. And like that gets tiring
Mm-hmm.
after a while,
Yes.
especially if you're an artist, because like if you do something that like fuels someone's boot fetish, for example, and they get like really excited about it, and that piece gets like a lot of views and a lot of like interest and stuff like that, that's great. It's great that you did something that got you seen.
Mm-hmm.
But then it becomes a situation of, well, if I do something of a different kind of fetish, how will people react to that? And they usually do not react positively.
I think that actually happens with like a lot of creativity, but if anything, that should show people like just because someone's lewd, it's like there are subcategories as well
Hmm.
and different niches and different themes and different levels
Yeah.
of it as well. Because like if even despite the fact that like I mean we've already had this talk plenty of times and I've mentioned this in my own videos, it's like it's pretty obvious when you are safe enough to be seen in chats and humored, but not safe enough to work with.
Yeah.
But when it comes to creativity, like I mean, there even on YouTube when I kind of do my more, I guess, say so shit. Um,
No, I hate
there were
that word.
times where I wait what?
I hate that word. I'm
I do,
sorry.
I
No,
do too. I
it
say
gives me
I
like
say it with a little bit of contempt because
no, it gives me war flashbacks. It really does. Because of the Twitter landscape and how that word felt like a weapon almost towards people like me. Like I never use that word ever. Like I sometimes, contextually you have to.
mhm.
Um, but if I can avoid it, I never mm-mm. You're never gonna see me repeat that word.
Like I try to make a little bit more light of it because for my own sanity, like it used to piss me off so much. Like this is I'll finish the first part and then I'll get to what I was like what I was saying beforehand. So this
Yeah.
this part on the YouTube wow on YouTube I got a lot of views for doing Soul Calibur character creation. And I saw something that I probably, if I just kept with it, would have probably got more and more views. The problem with it is I like, and this can be any sort of creative artistic trap, is like once you start doing something and you start doing it because you get that dopamine response, and then you can kind of get yourself stuck where your viewers only really want to see one thing from you, and that makes you more one dimensional, and that can feel
Yep.
so like you can start to hate it. That's why variety is a little bit more at least it's freeing, because when you're doing it for the fact that you just want to broaden your horizons and not just be lumped into like one category of your own content or be bound to it.
Absolutely. And going back to something you said earlier, you mentioned that you like consistency and don't like bouncing from game to
Mm-hmm.
game. As somebody who used to bounce from game to game, mostly in collabs, I can definitely empathize with the feeling of feeling like your content is being lost in it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I stopped doing them. Because I felt like I was doing so many collabs to help other people get seen, but also to help myself get seen. And it felt like the best way to do that was to partner with somebody and play a game together. And I did maybe 3, 4 collabs a week. And then in addition to that, there was no time for me to get through any of what I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of sucked because it felt like if I dropped the collabs, I would automatically be seen less, which I mean has more or less been true. Um, but it also sucked because it meant, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do and I didn't really know how long I was doing that for. So as soon as I started dropping the collabs and getting more consistent with what I wanted to stream, because now I stick to a series of games
Mm-hmm.
until I beat them, and then I just put a new game on the schedule, and we'll do it like that. Because I, like you, value consistency. I hate when I have to bounce from game to game to game to game just because it's popular. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely despise
Yep.
that. So I will typically focus on one big game for a month, and we don't usually get through that game for a month, depending on just like what happens with the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the one we will devote the most time to. So like usually weekend streams will be for that game so that we can get through it. And then I'll have like smaller games here and there throughout the week. Like right now, my big focus is Trails Through Daybreak 2, and like I have backup games as like Promise Mascot Agency is one I've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on there's a collab that Mel and I have been doing every Tuesday for a game called Rosewater. It's like a point and click adventure game. Um, and usually I try and keep those on the same day because I like to make sure that, when you see a schedule, you understand that that is going to be a consistent thing, unless something comes up where it has to be thrown off and then it's not.
Yeah.
And something else I managed to do recently, and I guess I'm getting ahead of myself here because we
You're
haven't
fine.
even gotten into the part where you asked me for updates yet, and here I am spilling
No,
my
no, no,
guts
no,
about
you're
it.
fine.
Um, something else that I did recently is every other week I will do 2 streams over on Joystick, which is where I've always done my lewd streams. And we've been focusing on the game Voidbound for that for some time. Now, the lewd streams I am a little bit better with bouncing around on because I don't know if you know this, because I don't know how many actual like not safe for work games you play,
Mm-hmm.
but it is really fucking hard to find something that is not safe for work and also isn't extremely disturbing to
Mm-hmm.
stream, especially if you are somebody who's into BDSM, because a lot of BDSM games are extremely, let's say, offensive at a molecular level. um, and they feature things that I don't think any person should ever write about as a main plot device. Uh, I mean, it's fine to feature like kinks and fetishes and stuff like that, or it's fine to have a story that is about a character who is trying to like get over sexual harassment or sexual abuse or sexual assault. But like when that stuff is actually depicted in real time, that to me is something I can't stomach, and I don't want to show my audience that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to find a lewd game that I feel comfortable streaming consistently, which is why I'm okay with bouncing around in that aspect. And then when it comes to these other games, like the ones that pop up like as one shots, like Repo, for example, Marvel Rivals, as we talked
Yeah.
about earlier, Fortnite, whatever the hell else people
Yeah,
are
whatever's
collabing these
the
days.
top or
Um,
popular game that's yeah.
I wait for someone to approach me with that. Like, if somebody sees that, comes to me and says, "Hey, let's play this. I think we'd have a lot of fun." Okay, I'm fine with that.
Mhm.
Like, I'll do that. I don't mind doing that. One-off collabs, I'm totally here for. But when it's like constantly doing that week after week, and it's like a party game, or it's like, one of those like ghost finding games and stuff like that, I just feel like at that point you've lost the plot, and like what you're doing is just really disingenuous. I mean, if that's what you want if that's what you want your channel to be, that's fine. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't do that. But if you are presenting yourself as something different and doing this to get views, I just feel like at that point you may as well just be honest what you're in it for.
Yeah. That's like for me with my channel, I've been longing for what I used to do, and I think I had more creativity and fun in my early, like, why I say I peaked, like, I may not have peaked in the sense of like viewership or anything, but I had picked up with
I
like
definitely did. I
noticing
definitely
like
did. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Like for me, like I peaked in like, I guess like in the sense of so many things were changing so rapidly, and
Yeah.
I was just enjoying the ride, and then I got burnt out so fast to where I forgot like the passion about it, and recently
Yeah.
I've been trying to go back to that. So like I do like my bouncing from thing to thing is like do a one-off series of like Niktana plays where just like little random games. Mostly I try to go back in the day like for nostalgia and like saying like, hey, this is a random ass game, let's play this. And
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed a couple of those.
yeah.
Never been able to watch one because I'm not a stream person myself.
Mhm.
But I will try and skeet them when I see them. But I have seen a couple of those that you've done some deep dives on.
Like I think I forgot what the most recent one was, but like yeah, no, like I'll like dust off my old consoles or try to like find ones that I haven't played and just sort of do that, because like I used to do that and people would be like, I guess that was like sort of a nice thing to see, like, oh, I didn't know anyone else knew about this game, and it's like it's nice to sort of showcase some like older games, because like
Yeah.
I've been tired of new games because they just don't seem to do much for me, and like they don't have the impact of a lot of old stuff, and just feel like just they're 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 I don't know. There's just something about newer games that just doesn't hold for me. No music, no, like there's very few. So I've been trying to go back to that. I do have, and this is where like say like for scheduling and stuff for like a streamer for me on YouTube, I have like anchor points of like playlists where I try to do a little bit of half and half. I'll have the variety of doing random old
Yeah.
games, but I want
Hmm.
consistency. So I've been actually doing episodic game series and
Mm,
trying to play those more consistently.
that's cool.
But mainly I've
I
been
know
trying to
that.
just I've been longing for a vibe. Like I just don't have like I when I stopped having fun with it is when I just was like, why the fuck am I doing this? And I've had too many of those, so I've been trying to sort of go back
Exactly.
and do what I was doing.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. Once you get to that point of where you start to wonder like why you're even like streaming something the way that you are, it really stops being fun at that point and it starts feeling more like a duty. And that's usually when I take my hiatuses. It's because I'm not having fun. I'm doing this day after day. I literally am only doing things because I feel like they're what get me seen. And especially if they don't get you seen and they should be getting you seen, that's when it feels like the worst.
Hmm.
That's when like you've completely lost the plot and you need to take a step back from doing it for a while, cuz that's another thing. But yeah, no, I completely understand. Usually when I become cognizant of that is when um I usually change things when I go on my hiatuses. Like I'll usually change something. Because me going on a hiatus doesn't typically mean, I'm tired of doing something. It
No, you just need
typically
to take a
means
step back sometimes.
you need to re-examine things and
Yeah.
take a step back and actually look at it outside of a lens of you doing it every day. I will say, I know that you like horror games.
Hmm.
Um, and I can completely understand feeling like no new games like really hit, because I mean honestly there are very few that do. Um but indie horror has really been in its own lately,
Hmm.
especially on Steam. There's a lot of really good indie horror stuff coming out. And I do a lot of indie horror demos. Like I'll showcase games that I get from developers to just check out on my stream and stuff like that, and some of those are really, really good. So I mean, I don't know if you've checked into that recently, but that might be something that you might find interesting. Um, there's a game that I was playing called Tormented Souls.
Oh my god. Yes, I've recently played that like a little while ago. But oh my god, yes.
That game really captures that old time vibe. It does so well with it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the content is not for everyone, I will admit.
Yeah.
Like
No.
there
No.
is
No.
some fucked up moments in that game. But the actual horror vibe of playing it feels so much like just like an old uh like PS2
Yep.
era Resident Evil game
Yep.
almost. Yeah. That game's good. Um There were some good ones on the Next Fest. I don't know if you got a chance to play those at all.
I have not.
One of them that I really liked was I got I got them here in front of my face here. Um well, Steam's doing this thing where it's not letting me see my video games. Uh I played like 10 games on Next Fest. There's a game called where is it?
I still have to play the one that you sent me, and I think it was what was it, Crypt something.
Crypt Keeper, yes.
Yes,
Oh,
I
Crypt
was
Master.
planning
Crypt
to play that
Master.
recently, and I remember that was one that you did mention to me a while ago.
Oh, that game is so good. Yeah, I haven't bought it yet, but I still really, really want to get that game sometime and stream it. That game is so much fun. I cannot find the game that I was thinking of in my demos, and that's very confusing because I definitely played it on the Next Fest, and it's just not here. Okay, hold on.
You're fine.
Oh, yes. Okay. There's a game called No, I'm Not a Human, and it's not like a survival horror game. It's a choice-based game where you make decisions based upon whether or not you can identify like certain characteristics in someone which may give you the impression that they're not human and that they're like some kind of monster called a visitor.
Hmm.
And that game was really good because not only are you making like some really hair-raising choices, but it has some good music, it has some good vibes. You can tell that someone was clearly inspired by the coronavirus pandemic when they made it, because it gives you that. No, it gives you that vibe. Like I felt like I was taken back to when I was trapped at home, because I worked at home. I worked from home during the
Hmm.
coronavirus pandemic, and like I felt that vibe of being trapped at home, like not feeling like you can go outside because something bad will
Yeah, like
happen.
an invisible
And they
monster.
captured that so well. So that was really good. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of a game called Signalis.
I don't believe I have.
Signalis is a third person survival horror game. It has pixel graphics, so
Oh,
like it's
lovely.
a little bit different than like Tormented Souls, for example.
Hmm.
Um, it's really good. It's really good. It's hard in some areas, but it's a really good story. It's really good. So indie horror is doing really well, I think. Which is partially why I'm so happy that like horror is my niche,
Hmm.
because I just feel like I have like a wealth of games to focus on when it comes to horror, just because the indie horror scene is so good right now.
Which is refreshing because like I mean I've played some indie like this is like through like even when like oldest systems had like their indie game uh not in the shop pretty much, and just testing even like little ones that didn't take like more than 10 minutes. It was nice to see the influence of games of old making a modern sort of influence, because there's so many times where like again with horror especially, like I feel like the first person perspective has been done to death
Yeah,
with horror games. Even if you add the puzzles, and keep in mind I liked Resident Evil 7, and there are other games that I get it, it does work for it, but I miss so many elements of other creative ways to express horror than just simply like first person jump scares. So
I agree. I
it is nice
completely
to see
agree.
that even like like just, and plus it's nice because like it's indie, so it's like, hey, AAA developers, take notice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can honestly tell you, pretty much every horror game that I have played that's notable within recent memory is an indie horror game. I cannot think of a big horror game that I played recently.
Hmm.
Maybe Silent Hill 2, but if you think about it, Silent Hill 2 came out October of last year. We're almost a full year into that. So that's pretty embarrassing. Um because another like big budget horror game has just not hit the same way.
Yeah.
They're all indies. They're all these small developers making these, 2, 3, 4 people games that do something really well. Like the game I finished yesterday, Sorry We're Closed.
Hmm.
Um, it's a shorter game in terms of horror, or maybe it might be longer depending on what your horror experience is. I think Tormented Souls is quite a bit longer. But that game, for example, captured so much of what made those third person horror games great. Like the tense battle scenes and just like the exploration and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it's very viscerally disturbing at times in terms of the way they approach their graphics, because the graphics are not 3D graphics, they're like pixel graphics
Yeah.
almost.
Which
Um,
sometimes are scarier. I don't care what anyone says. There is.
yeah, which are sometimes really, really scary. So that game is phenomenal, and it is one of the best horror games I've played in recent memory. Uh, and if you want a big horror title, and I don't mean big as in like a big group made it.
Mhm.
I did recently finish a game called Clair Obscur
Oh my
Expedition
god.
30.
Yep, I've been hearing. Yep.
I don't know if you would get on with it, just because it's not dark in the way that I know that you like, but it's dark in a completely different way. Um, and that darkness is what attracted me to it, and what kept me to play, and kept me playing it, because it showcases the quintessential darkness of art and the artistic process and the process of grieving. Um, and I feel like those were all messages that hit really personally with me.
Mhm.
Um, and they did it so well, the way that they illustrated that. There's so much effort that got put into Clair Obscur. It is a game that has absolutely earned all of the acclaim that it has received, and I cannot say that about many games these days.
All right. So, for the remainder of this, I wanted to talk to Domi about updates because, again, the last time I had actually done this, um, it's been a while and I wanted to revive the playlist. And funny enough, I had done an update video with Domi a while back, and I think a while back is now like what, 2 years ago. I just feels like a couple months,
Your
but
your guess is as good as mine.
it's been long enough.
It's been a while.
So, without keeping anyone on edge any longer, unless you're into that,
Mm.
in that case, rewind the video and get to this part again, and then rewind again and again until you're ready. So, so fucked up. But, so, so, since we are on the platform that has so graciously hosted us, even though it's towing the line of what is able to get away with on this fucking thing, we are on YouTube. And Domi, if you'd be so kind to briefly give an update on your content for YouTube and what your focus is.
Well, I'll tell you, it's definitely not edging material. Not on YouTube anyway. But if you want that, I have that in other places. You can find that there. No, so YouTube is a weird one for me because when I started a YouTube channel, I did it with the intention that I was going to become a video editor. And I did some video edits of Resident Evil 4 whenever the remake was released.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really good time with that. I learned a lot, and I had a lot of fun making those. Unfortunately, they're just very time consuming,
Mm-hmm.
and between having a full-time job and streaming full-time, I just cannot devote the level of time that I want to do edits, so I don't do edits anymore. I've taken the editing skills that I wanted to learn and practice and stuff like that, and put that into creating thumbnails. So every stream that I do now has a custom thumbnail that is created by me, with some occasional help from my partner Melon Rose, and who has become Pop Squish. Now she has her own website, popsquish.art. And I upload VODs now. I have a VOD upload. My friend and mod Riku uploads my VODs from Twitch. It's not like a one-to-one thing. It's like we'll play some games on Twitch, and then usually the VODs can be expected to be uploaded to YouTube usually the next week. Um, there's a little bit of give and take with that because there is a backlog of things we have not touched,
Mm-hmm.
for various reasons. Usually because when I go on my hiatuses, I don't schedule video uploads, and I don't really give Riku the things that they need to schedule video uploads either. So we do have a backlog of things, but we do try and keep that schedule. So typically what we'll do is we will do an upload a day, usually around 12 p.m. Central. And it will usually be something that we streamed from the previous week. Now, if there's nothing that we have to upload from the previous week, we'll kind of dip into that backlog, and we will work through that in that way. Usually the uploads are focused around stuff that I've been doing like long streams of, like for example, Daybreak 2 has been a popular one. Uploading All of Claire Obscure is another one. And we'll typically arrange that on weekends to make sure that that's good to go within the next week. And every now and then I'll upload some custom stuff to YouTube. I upload previews of the edging content I mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
to where you can sort of check out a watered down version of something not safe for work that I did. So I have a couple of like sound recordings on YouTube because I started doing voice stuff recently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can find those there. Some of those are too not safe for work to record on YouTube, so we don't upload them, but sometimes we do. And we got some other stuff on YouTube too. I have a full-length trailer about me and what I do, in case this is the first time you are hearing of me and you were curious about it. It is the first thing that you'll see when you open my YouTube. And I have some one-offs as well. I did a armpit rating stream recently where people submitted me OCs and just characters from video games and stuff like that, and I rated their armpits. And I did a lingerie video recently. When I say recently, I mean like a couple of years ago. Where
It's
where,
like
where people look. Time is a endless Ouroboros devouring itself until we die, and that is what it is. Um, no, I uploaded a video where people gave me like lingerie that they would ask me, would Domi wear this, etc. and so on, and that's on there too. So every now and then we do some one shots. I'm always taking ideas for like one shots to do. I haven't gotten any in a long time, so usually the one shots that I'll do these days are just random previews of audio videos I did. But yeah,
I am so
usually
sorry for laughing. This on the content, I was like out of context, like when I was hearing one shots and then just give and take, and then I was just like, wow, my god, just stop, Nick, you fucking adolescent.
you're fine.
So, links in the description below of Domi's YouTube, and actually a bunch more. And the next one is where I found Domiwoof, which was Twitch. Any updates or anything to tell the viewers about Twitch that they might not know?
Yeah. So Twitch is still the main place that I do my content. It is where I stream pretty much 6 days a week. Sometimes 5 days a week, just depending on what the schedule looks like at work, because I do have a new job now and it is a bit different from my old one. Basically, the things that have changed on Twitch, I've redone. Well, we've redone. I didn't do any of them. My partner, Art, she did a complete overhaul of the graphics that we use on Twitch. So there's a new layout that we have. We have new headers. If you scroll down under the Twitch video, you can see those. I have some new outfits. I don't really remember exactly how long ago we did this last time, but I have a motorcycling outfit that I break out during the summer. I have a new default outfit, which is black and red. It's very, very sexy. I have a winter outfit, which I think I might have had back then, but we've done a couple of overhauls of that, so it's very shiny. Um, I have my Halloween outfit still, which is the same Halloween outfit that I've always had. We're talking about redoing that sometime. I have a different program that I use. I don't use VC Face anymore. I actually use Vignon now, so my model is a lot more crisp and a lot more clear, because of the shaders that Vignon uses. And I trying to think. I've restructured my schedule, so I don't do the jumping around stuff that I used to do. I don't do the collabs anymore. I stick strictly to the same games each week, usually on the same days, until we beat those, and then we replace them with something new. Recently, those games have been every Monday. Sorry, every Monday. Usually, I'm usually on a break. That's usually my break day, unless I decide to play something, and then I'll go live with something random. Um, Tuesdays are usually reserved for me and Mel to play Rosewater, which is the point and click adventure game I mentioned before.
Mhm.
Wednesdays are usually reserved for Promise Mascot Agency. Um, Thursdays, I sometimes alternate Wednesday and Thursday because I do like to play just like a preview of a game I got to check out every week. Sometimes I'll do two of those depending on deadlines. But I do like to showcase something new every week, either on Wednesday or Thursday. That's where you'll find that. And Friday is our horror game day. So that's usually where I'll position a horror game. Recently, that has been Sorry, We're Closed. We finished that yesterday, so I'll probably pick a new game to focus on. And then Saturday and Sunday, I usually use to focus on the game that we've been playing for the month. So this month, that is Trails Through Daybreak 2. And I am focusing on finishing that game. And then after I finish that game, we'll pick another long game to focus on and keep on like that. And that has been the new structure that I have been following for a while
And
now.
those are usually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And so usually, and, oh, I'm sorry. Usually these are the two places that you will probably find you the most as of right now, which are of course towing the line of what we can get away with on these damn platforms. But you have recently been, and you mentioned this earlier a bit, but if you wouldn't mind giving an update or possibly like what the viewers can expect from your venturing into platforms that are a lot more open to the content in the not safe for work department that you've been venturing to.
Absolutely. So, joystick is something I think even back when we did our first interview, I believe I was still streaming on. Now, I used to do it a lot more hardcore, but I don't do that anymore. I do 2 days a week on joystick, every other week usually, and we will focus on something random. I've played Jock Studio on there in the past, which I do still want to get back to. The game that we're currently focusing on over on joystick is Voidbound. The neat thing about doing not safe for work and safe for work content is usually the safe for work thumbnails. I try and make a little bit more flavored in like teasing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The not safe for work thumbnails, I try and be a little bit more over with like the lewd vibes and stuff of that nature. That's pretty cool. And I take my not safe for work VODs and I upload those to Fansly, which I joined probably within the last year, I think. And Fansly is it's not something that I post terribly often on because I don't really do a lot of original content there, but most of what I post there is going to be picture captions of the art commissions that I get based upon whether or not the artist is okay with that. And I have discussed this with them beforehand. Um, and I will do voice recording stuff, which is like edging POVs or like rubber worship POVs. I've done some stuff with like puppy play. I've done some stuff with body worship and bondage and stuff like that. I haven't done too many of those. I think I've maybe done 3 or 4. And I'm looking to do more of them in the future. But they're a little bit hard for me to produce because it requires me to write a script, and writing has been a little bit hard for me lately.
Mhm.
So I'm just kind of getting to those as I get to them. A big thing that we have done recently is I have a subscriber benefit now where you can join a different Discord than the one that my community inhabits. And you can participate in real time BDSM with via erotic play. So that is pretty much signing a contract with me, creating a dynamic with me. I give you some tasks to do. You do them, and we sort of proceed like that. That has been a really neat thing because it gives me an outlet to be an actual dominant online, which is nice because I don't really have that opportunity much in real life. So it's pretty cool to be able to tap into that side of myself and actually feel like, I'm dominating people through my content.
Mhm.
And a lot of the subscriber based stuff that you'll find are in that server. You can request voice audios from me. So, like, that's like if you want to request something lewd from me, you can do it. I have a gallery that I post my art in. I post my captions there, the ones that I write on Fansly. I post uh, I post my Findom stuff there, which I've gotten more into lately. I think I've always done it to some degree. I did it back on Twitter too. But on Blue Sky, I felt a lot more comfortable breaking into it in full. So I do some Findom stuff too, to where you can send me money for things like just reimbursing meals or just reimbursing bills and stuff like that, and I'll do some special domination scenes for you with that. If that's your kink and stuff like that, you go to that server as well as and sign a contract with me if you want to become a full-time fin sub, which is pretty much you agreeing to send me X amount of money for every week or so, or every month or so, however often you want to do it, and we'll negotiate a dynamic based on that. AO3 is where I've been uploading my writing. I haven't been writing much recently, probably within the past 2 years, I'd say. The last big writing project that I did was called Domi-tober. It took place in 2023, I believe, and is mostly all on my AO3, which is, you go to Archive of Our Own, and search up Domiwoof, and you can find that there. I'm not given links for these things because I'm really bad at this. I'm Domiwoof pretty much everywhere. Anywhere you find a platform, and if you search Domiwoof, chances are I'll probably come up, unless I'm not on that platform, in which case I won't. But my Fansly is Domiwoof. My Blue Sky is Domiwoof.xxx. My AO3 is Domiwoof. Um, my Discord server you can access through my community server if you're looking for the subscriber server. If you're looking for the community server, it's in my pinned on Blue Sky. Trying to think of what else. Let's see. Write for me is something I've been trying to get back into. Haven't really done much of it recently. But I am trying to get back to a point where I do that pretty regularly because it's something I've had a lot of fun with. I'm Domi Wolf on there too, writeforme.org. And if you don't know what Write for Me is, if you're a big BDSM enthusiast, Write for Me is probably something you would enjoy because you get to participate in writing tasks that are given to you from dominance. And that can be like for punishment, or it can just be for like fulfillment, things like that. It used to be I would give my submissives one writing task per week to do, in addition to the daily tasks that we do, but I haven't really been able to get back to that, and I'm trying to work towards it. What else? Let me see. Did I cover everything? Sorry, I'm just gonna
Oh, you're
open my
fine.
link.
It gives people time to clean off their keyboard.
True. So true. Um, I'm just opening my link tree, see if I captured everything. I do have a throne. I have a naughty throne. Well, I mean, it's not all naughty, but it has naughty stuff on there. Uh, and if you want to check out my wish list and stuff like that, I do have toys and stuff on there that you can look at. And the big thing that I want to talk about is recently, Mel and I actually put out our first zine project, which is a magazine of 40 plus pages of some hardcore dog boy latex content, um, featuring me in mostly dominant positions. Um, it has some of my writing in there, some of which I've never written anywhere else before. And it's just a very nice put together project that Mel did. You can check it out on Fansly. I believe it's $10 to purchase. I might be wrong on that. And you get access to some pretty hot, some pretty heavy content to not just edge yourself to, but to have a pretty explosive weekend with. So yeah, that's that's pretty much it, I think. I don't think there's much else that I do that I didn't talk about. I do have some projects in the works with Mel. Mel and I have talked about a number of things that we'd like to do. One of those being we're trying to build a website, but that has been put on hold for a while for a couple of different reasons. Um, and we're hoping to get back to that sometime. We have other stuff too that we're looking into branching out to. So yeah, just stay tuned. I'll bring those out whenever we have news on them. Oh, I also take writing commissions. I don't know if I talked about that. I'm on VGen, which I bet you can't guess my VGen name. It is Domiwoof, and you can check out my VGen. And if you like what you see on the AO3, or if you like what you see in the like erotic roleplay and stuff like that, or just like my writing in general, you can check out my VGen commissions and get some kinky stuff written of your own.
And
Yeah.
also, as a reminder, all links will be in the description below. After the interview, I will be asking Domi to provide me with all of the or links to the platforms that were discussed. And, of course, to stay updated, you can always follow Domi on said platforms. And if there's anything you'd like to close out with for this interview, please do.
Um. Well, I first of all I want to thank you for doing this because I wasn't expecting anything like this to happen. But I'm really glad that we were able to get together and do this again. It's been a lot of fun. I guess the only things that I want to say are as lewd creators, sexual content is under a threat more than ever. And we just want to keep creating, and we
Mm-hmm.
should have the space to do that. So where you are able to, please continue to pay attention to the various evolutions that are happening with the moderation of sexual content throughout our country. If you're listening to this and you are outside of the US, please pray to whatever twisted deity that you worship, that things will change here, because we are under constant threat uh, of just sexual content being done away with entirely, and it's dystopian and it's weird and it's just it's a strange vibe, man. The other thing I want to say is if you like a sex worker's work and you like what they do, please pay them. Tip them for what they do. If you can't afford to spend much, a tip is always nice. I have I have subscriptions on like my Fansly and stuff like that. If you want to give back to me, that's a great way to do it. Um, but always support sex work where you can, and support sex workers too. And the last thing that I want to say is, as things continue to ramp up in society, please remember that human rights are not political, and trans people and queer people have always been around, always been in society, and they will continue to be so. And a um, a motion for trans rights is a motion for human rights.
And again, cannot stress this enough. Make sure to look in the description below, scroll down, and follow Domiwoof. I think like sometimes it can just like pass the mind of like you're done with the video and it's like, okay, I did everything. It's like no. Click. There's ways. So because like for it, I shouldn't have to remind, but there you go. It is an option. You have the ability to not lose. I had a better choice of word there, and then I went so far off because I was like, I am sweating so fucking bad because of the damn heat.
You're thinking about the edging again, aren't you?
Huh?
You're thinking about the edging again, aren't you?
Well, I was trying to like again the whole time I was like, Nick, be poised, and because any other time like the puns and stuff are plentiful, so I generally have no shortage of having some lewd pun spitting out of my mouth, but
right.
I was like also like it's the interview, so it's like this is the one area where I'm like make sure you give center stage and be poised and try to guide through these sections of it. But I do want to thank Domiwoof for joining once again, even though it's only felt like a few months. It's been probably a couple years. I'll have to look at the video afterwards.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it just when weeks start feeling like when a week feels like a day, it just I don't even know what fucking day it is half the time. I have to look on my phone and then just be like, oh right, there was a time when I didn't know it was 2025. I thought it was 2026.
That's a huge mood.
So like it just literally like I'm like if someone's like, oh it's this day, I'm like unless it's like on a mental schedule that I have where I have to literally look at what fucking day it is in that hour, I don't know what you could tell me it's Tuesday and it's Saturday. I wouldn't fucking know the difference. The only way I know a day is changing is when I see the sun and the moon.
Well, I'll tell you, I wish it was 2026 because 2025 has been, as the kids say, mid. So far, and will continue to be mid, I'm sure. So I can completely relate to that.
But for the video, it is 2025, so I'll make sure to keep this in mind for the next time, like when I'm for a future video that might feel like it's a few months and it's 2027. But this is Niktana and my guest Domiwoof, and thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great week.